was a meaty slap. That felt good.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to hear it because Discord cuts it out now.
No.
They've really improved their filtering system,
Thanks, Discord.
which I both love and appreciate, but also it cuts out every time I fart, and you would think that would be great, because then it's like, I don't have to worry about anyone hearing me fart. But what that also means is that it doesn't pick up when I do mouth farts, so when I'm sitting on mic and going, you can hear me now.
It picked up the first
but
one,
nobody
not the
hears
rest
me.
of them.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows I'm sitting there just pooting.
That's unfortunate. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's really sad, and it makes me really upset.
Poot-free zone.
Hi, welcome to Author's Note.
Don't listen.
My name is Cass.
And my name's Tease.
Tease.
Cass.
We weren't here last week.
No, we weren't. And can I make a quick announcement?
Hell yeah.
So while we weren't here last week, we hit a Patreon goal. So I just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of our patrons. And we reached the goal where I'm going to do a bonus episode where I get to talk about Neopets, Pantheon, religion, theology, all of that. So thank you once again, everybody, for believing in us as a podcast that much to give us your money, as well as thank you because I'm so fucking excited to work on this episode. It's been percolating in my mind. I've already reached out to a few friends who've played some of the games that I haven't played and been like, hey, is there some fun little theology in this? So I'm already working on it, and I just want to say thank you, everyone, real quick. But what were you gonna say, Cass?
No, I'm really, really excited for that episode to come because I feel like our deep dive episodes are always the most personally fun for me.
Yeah.
Because we're just too into it. We're too into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for all of the support that continually blows me away and totally surprises me. And I mean, like, our numbers didn't go down because of the week we took off. And like, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And that's sort of like flexibility from you guys as listeners, because like my body just decides to give up on me sometimes and I don't really get a choice in the matter. So when you guys are like, hey, it's cool, thank you very much for that. And I will continue to supply you with Eskel pics and Eskel rummaging noises in the background of our episodes if you keep listening.
You'll hear
Eskel.
it. What about book club?
It comes out this week.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes out this week.
For $1 patrons, you could hear us shit-talking Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, so book club will come out this week finally. Again, I apologize for the delay on that. But life happens.
Yeah,
and,
sometimes bodies go
2020's
crunch.
still hanging on.
Yeah.
2020's still here.
Yes.
Tease, have you been watching, reading, delighting in anything? Can you tell everyone about your purchase? Because I'm very excited about it.
So this week, and it is Sunday, so today, Sunday, I went to a thrift store with a friend because we are going to do a giant tie-dye party the weekend of 4th of July. So we went to go look for some shirts and stuff that we could tie-dye. And in my tradition of going from the toy section to the men's hats section of the local thrift store by me, I met the god of the thrift store, which is a hat that's shaped like a turtle. We can post photos on our Twitter. I took photos of it and posted on my own Twitter earlier, but we could always like retweet it or something like that. But I met a god, and he's a turtle.
You gonna name him?
I don't know. Should I? What are we gonna name him?
I'm trying to remember what the turtle's name in It is.
Turtle.
It's Turtle now.
It's Turtle. Congratulations, Turtle. Your name is Turtle.
It's Turtle.
Congratulations.
You could pull some real fuckery. When I was a child, I had a hamster and I named it Hedgehog. So I've also desperately wanted a hedgehog for a very long portion of my life. But they happen to be illegal in every state I've ever resided in.
Oh my God.
But when I do eventually get a hedgehog, it will be named Hamster, just to balance out the equilibrium
That's
of
really
the
good.
universe.
Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. That's really fucking good.
Can I give you a fun piece of Eskel lore?
Yes.
Yeah, his name before I saw him, I was going to name him Napkin. And then I met him and I was like, nah, Eskel. He could have been named Napkin, though.
That's really good. Really good.
Feel free to take that one, Internet. If you want to name your cat Napkin, go for it. I just demand to see pictures.
I would
of
love to see pictures
Napkin.
of Napkin.
I really love following. We're just chatting right now before we get into the episode.
Sorry.
I really love following people who regularly foster kittens, and one of my favorite is the Kegel Cats on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
She always has fosters coming in and out, and I love the naming conventions she chooses for them, and I'm waiting for the day that she's like, okay, I'm gonna name them all after silverware. Here's knife, here's fork, here's spoon, here's plate.
Perfect. I love that. That's so good. I hope so. Saucer would be a really cute name for a cat.
Saucer would be a really cute name for a cat. I just always think of Mama Pasta and her noodles.
Stop, yeah. What a good picture.
What a baby.
What a baby. I mean, Bass is alabaster, but sometimes I make what you again see Bass jokes. So, same idea. What have I been consuming? I mean, I don't know if it counts, but I've been on 24-hour lockdown listening to Insane in the Brain by Cypress Hill. Something about it. It's just insane in the membrane, insane in the brain. It's fun. It's a fun song. So
you got me to listen to Temporary Secretary. And I don't really trust your music choices.
Oh wait, no,
anymore.
Insane in the Brain's like late 90s. Yeah. Early 90s? Let me see.
I hated how Temporary Secretary both weirdly spoke to me and also offended each and every one of my senses.
Yes, as it should. Oh, okay. It's from 1993. It's you've probably heard it and you don't even realize it. It's fun. It's a fun song. But besides that, been reading a book, but I talked about that in an episode that we recorded yesterday. It's going to come out a little bit later, so we'll spare everybody and I'll give the hot deets once I finish it. And then I started watching the Roy Halston mini series on Netflix with my mom.
Yeah, with Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, and it's a Ryan Murphy bit, so it's not good.
Okay, interesting, because I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Oh my god. It moves
from like people whose taste I trust.
So here's time for a tease opinion. You know what it is? It's unfortunately really choppy because it's only 5 episodes. So there's no tension. It just only jumps to the highlighted moments of his career that are like, my name's Halston, and I grew up in Indiana, and now I live in New York, and I put a hat on Jackie Kennedy's head, and then it jumps forward to, oh, Jackie Kennedy stopped wearing my hat, what do I do? And then it goes, ooh, I bought this little building, I have no shmoney, and then it becomes, oh, but now I have money because people like my fancy little tie-dye dresses. Ooh, I love ultra suede. And then it becomes, ooh, just sold my trademark. So now I'm only on episode 3. So we will see where that goes. But
that's quite Ryan Murphy, though, isn't it? I mean, his pacing is consistently very rapacious.
Yeah, so it's not good. And I will say this, I do enjoy the banter between the characters. I think the cast that they casted did a really good job of bringing these characters to life. However, it's just not the best writing. It's edited kind of poorly, in my opinion, and it's moving really, really fast. But I'm gonna finish it. You know, it's only 5 episodes, so like, blah, blah, blah. So
I'm still excited to check it out.
Yeah, and if you do watch it, I would love to hear what you think too, because we have differing opinions sometimes. But what about you? What have you been watching, reading, consuming in general? I would love to hear.
I watched Aku no Hana.
Oh,
yeah, so
I'm so excited.
You introduced me to the ending theme for Aku no Hana, which has like very quickly taken over as like one of my favorite songs, and I shared it with a friend because we both really love the Nier soundtracks, and it sort of has that very same uneasy ethereal vibe to it, and she immediately noticed like, oh, it's parsing out the language as if you were typing it on a keyboard, which is why it sounds very like choppy and broken up in like a really appealing way. And so I watched the anime because she started watching it and was like, you need to watch this, and like we had been talking about it, and I had no idea what to expect from the plot line of it. Please, if you want to watch Aku no Hana, please, as always, with anything we recommend, consult doesthedogdie.com for potential trigger warnings.
There's a lot.
Look
There's a
that
lot
kind
in
of
it.
stuff up. it's a pretty deeply upsetting series, and I like it is so true, I feel like, to the way in which paranoia, fear, and shame ramp up inside of you and expand problems bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know that I have seen something in a very long time that depicts like that teenage experience so authentically and earnestly, with like really deeply flawed child characters, and like it's rotoscoped, and it got a lot of beef because it was rotoscoped and it looked so different from the manga, and there were a lot of people who didn't like that. I thought the rotoscoping was like really great. It added this sort of visceral bodily tension to the episodes that I don't think you would have gotten otherwise. It was phenomenal, and I really enjoyed it.
I also recommend Blood on the Tracks, which is a manga. So if you are into Aku no Hana and you have not read Blood on the Tracks, highly, highly, highly recommend. It's available to read legally in manga format in the United States, but I read it before it was. It's worth it. Very similar themes.
Pirate.
Yeah, especially with manga. Sorry, guys. But very similar themes, very similar suspense and nervous energy, very similar teens interacting in ways that feels legitimate, you know. It's good. I highly recommend it. I haven't read it in a few months, so I'm behind, but it's worth the read, and it's a very easy binge read as well too, because it's so suspenseful and it's such a page turner. So for people who are like, oh shit, yeah man, I loved Aku no Hana, highly recommend Blood on the Tracks. So that's
I know we're taking a little while to get into the topic here, but I just want to keep talking about Aku no Hana for a moment.
Go for it.
I watched all of 13 Reasons Why, and maybe one day there will be an episode on that and breaking down that series and all of its failures and successes and like the really terrible things that happened with it and because of it. But I kept mentally comparing it to 13 Reasons Why and series like Riverdale and a lot of these like, you know, CW shows or ABC Family shows that attempt to depict the lives of teenagers, especially in high school, and really fall flat and are just so contrived. And like Aku no Hana starts on it's about middle schoolers, so it starts at this place where it's like something relatively inconsequential happens, and I feel like all the elevating escalations of every character just feel so believable, and like they might not seem it, but if you have endured that sort of abuse, have dealt with that sort of bullying, it is like terrifyingly familiar, and it is almost too earnest and too real, because children are unwittingly cruel and capable of things that they don't quite realize the full context of, because they're modeling it from things they've seen or things they've picked up from adults, and they don't quite understand the full context of it. And I think that is just like perfectly captured in Aku no Hana in a way that was like, again, just really masterfully done. And I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I was really blown away by it.
Hell yeah. I'm so glad you liked it. It's one of my favorites. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's good.
All right.
Yeah.
So
what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so this week we're going to have like a little bit of a history lesson about an aspect of fandom that has sort of fallen out of favor, that not a lot of people might be familiar with, and you know, we can talk a little bit about it. Tease, have you ever heard of quizfic?
Yes. I mean, the term itself, I don't think so, but for what I assume it is, I'm going to say yes.
Okay, what do you assume that quizfic
I'm assuming
is?
this is like fan fiction that lived on Quizilla that was a little bit more interactive. So 7 Minutes in Heaven, Spin the Bottle Fic, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%. Absolutely. But what happens to quizfic when Quizilla no longer exists, you know? And we're going to...
The burning of the Library of Alexandria.
Yeah. So I'm sure we have many listeners who either never heard of Quizilla or might be too young to even know what Quizilla is, which that's terrifying. So let's first set the stage and talk about the now lost to us treasure that was Quizilla. BuzzFeed has, in a lot of ways, sort of subsumed the place on the internet that Quizilla once occupied, but BuzzFeed is not great, and it also has a notorious history of using the content of others to fill out their listicles without compensation, and BuzzFeed is also generally pretty broad, uncritical, and fluffy literature. There's not a lot of like big, super meaty pieces in there. There are some.
Yeah, I was gonna say
But-
I've read a few good, super
Yeah.
meaty BuzzFeed pieces. However, it is truly dominated by their clickbait listicles, 100%.
Yeah. And like that's totally fine. You need to make your money. You need to, get your ad revenue. I get it. If you're a journalist at BuzzFeed,
Chase your bliss.
large respect to you for working in a brutal industry. But BuzzFeed is pretty synonymous with like this sort of like fluff lit idea, I would say. And so where BuzzFeed has staff made things, Quizilla was user generated, and that's the huge difference. So per its terms and conditions, this is Quizilla in 2004. Quizilla is what I like to call a quiz foundry. What that means in real terms is that it's a place to make internet quizzes and also a place to take them. It encapsulates and automates all the things needed to make the sort of quizzes that are all the rage with kids these days. Just all the rage with those teens on the internet.
Hello, how do you do, fellow teens?
In 2005, that changed a little bit, though, because the site's creators became aware that it was actually being used in large part and parcel for fiction and poetry, which is not at all what they had anticipated. So Quizilla was largely home to user-made quizzes like what hidden village would you come from, what Greek god would be your patron, what terrible turfy wizard house would you be from, that kind of deal. And Quizilla also had a community of quizfic and unique Y/N or reader fics. We're going to take a quick diversion here, very quick. YN or Y/N refers to your name. It is a type of fic in which the reader is inserted, and places where their name would be used tend to feature a bracketed your name or Y/N for them to know quite literally where to insert themselves in the fic. Very popular, tends to be more popular among teenagers. And we'll circle back to that point in a little bit, because I have some beef with some of the way. We'll get back to it. Originally, Quizilla's formatting and styling didn't allow for paragraph breaks. And I don't know if you have ever read a book, Tease, but paragraph breaks
sure
are
have.
very necessary. Usually the responses when you would take these quizzes had like little to no impact on the story's next chapter because of the site's relatively forward-propelled quiz system. So it's like you have a question and it's like maybe it's like a line of dialogue that the character says, and it's like you pick a line and it's like, well, they can't just make the next question different for every single one, so it's the same. So your answer there doesn't necessarily affect the next point. It only all comes out in the wash at the very end results of the quiz.
Interesting.
So it's not quite the same as Choose Your Own Adventure, where you have a little bit more, I guess I would say, agency, where there is a bit more where it's like, yeah, you are actively making decisions which like highly affect the plot. This is more like little nuanced things. There was also, because people horny, a lot of not safe for work content, and because there was no tagging system in place, people utilized the citrus scale. We could do a whole episode on the citrus scale, but if you are not familiar with the citrus scale, I'm going to quickly go over it for you. There are two terms in here which are used far more frequently than the other ones, but I'm going to go through the whole thing, which is citrus indicates the most mild of interactions, maybe a romantic hug or a kiss on the cheek. There's orange, which is kissing, hugging, some touching, little hints towards sexuality. There is lime, which is far more commonly used, which is more sexual, making out, groping, hinting at lemon scale action without explicit disclosure, so like a lot of fade to black kind of business. And then lemon, which is like very, very frequently used, probably what you have heard of the most. That is work which includes the sex. And then there is grapefruit, which apparently is like X-rated, super kink heavy, maybe a little bit unconventional, maybe a little bit taboo. Sign me up. The creators of Quizilla recounted the fact that they tried their hardest to like filter this stuff out and catch it, but he recounts how he was like consistently duped by 14-year-olds on the internet who are always outsmarting him, where they were like changing it, so they're spelling lemon with like the letter 3, or they're like spacing it apart with brackets, and he just couldn't keep up. They're horny and they want their content visible.
Oh my god. Congratulations to the teens. Big fan of your work. Teens, once again, are the backbone of society.
Mm-hmm. Children are our future.
Fuck buddy, they sure are.
So, Quizilla was chiefly used by younger individuals, and because of that, Quizilla was actually a lot of people's first exposure to fandom and fan culture, which I thought was really cool. And then I started thinking about it, and I think Quizilla might have actually been my first exposure to fan fiction. If not, it was absolutely my first exposure to self-inserts and reader shipfic. And actually to like the choose your own adventure style in general.
That's super interesting because I actually have a very vivid, what I assume is a Quizilla-fic memory. And so my childhood best friend moved away when she was like 8. Fast forward to, we like continued to be friends, but fast forward to when we were 13 for like a whole entire year. I just kind of was like busy doing shit. It was like my freshman year of high school, like into like as a 14-year-old. So I was actually 14. And so jump forward to being the end of the school year as a 14-year-old, and we kind of became friends and started hanging out again, talking more. And I remember that summer in particular, we would talk on the phone a lot, and she would read me 7 Minutes in Heaven or Spin the Bottle fics. And I remember particular, she read me a Naruto Spin the Bottle fic. And I remember picking a random number and getting Sasuke. And she's like, "You got Sasuke!" And I'm like, "Who the fuck is Sasuke?"
He's really cool.
Is he?
Sakura, the beautiful.
I don't know the words to that opening. I'm sorry.
It's so good.
I've heard it once or twice. That's all I need. But
Naruto. Naruto. Believe it. Believe it.
Oh my god, stop. But yeah, I think similarly, before I ever read my Bad Little John Cat fic as a 16-year-old, I was subjected to Spin the Bottle Naruto Quizilla fic.
Damn, I wish we could go back. There's part of me that misses that, like being a preteen and sitting, clustered around the friend's dad's computer, and we're all on Quizilla, like, pick this one. No, pick this one.
I mean, we literally could just do this as adults. You realize this, right?
Quizilla's gone, tease.
We could write, Quiz is real and it's out there. As well as we can just write it for ourselves, and you, me, and third fake host Jay can do this with each other.
Honorary host Jay.
Shout out to Jay.
Later updates to the site allowed for coding, which meant, oh my gosh, y'all got paragraph breaks. Impeccable. And it also meant that all of those fics could have their own individual looks, which also meant that they quickly turned into things that looked like GeoCity, Diarrhea, and Angel Fire websites.
Yeah, that's what we like to see.
Moving GIFs for backgrounds, sparkle cursors, the whole shebang. Quizilla began in July of 2002 and was publicly accessible on August 4th, 2002. We're coming up on that anniversary. Long may she reign.
God.
I know
July
she's dead now, but
2002 is the year and month I started playing Neopets. My Neopets career has outlived Quizilla. Jesus Christ. Congratulations, tease.
In 2006, unfortunately, it was bought out and the site purged fan-created content. So what's even the point anymore?
How could you?
In 2014, Quizilla shut down.
No, rest
Sad
in peace.
Quizilla was never meant for fiction, obviously, even when its creators attempted to lean into that a little bit more in 2005. It just didn't really have the infrastructure to support it, or the rich text tools to really make it as, intuitive as it could have been. And fan lore notes that fans frequently congregate on sites that are by no measure ideal for what they're looking for. I mean, arguably people in general frequently congregate on social media platforms that fail to deliver what they're actually seeking, intending from the site. I mean, Instagram is absolutely terrible for sharing artwork, and like in a lot of cases even photos at this point. And Twitter is also terrible, but like artists go there en masse because of the potential visibility and connection to others. And I mean, like, Artful launched and had a relatively, I think, successful launch, but people immediately backed out when they figured out they couldn't put porn on there and blamed it on the devs. And it's like, it's not their fault, it's Apple's fault and Google's fault. That's a whole other thing. While fanfiction.net did exist at the time Quizilla did, it had explicitly banned the illustrious, magnanimous, impeccable 7 Minutes in Heaven style fic that was so popular on Quizilla.
Did it really?
Yeah,
Why?
they were banned.
Why?
Because fanfiction.net doesn't believe in fun.
Fanfiction.net's a bunch of fucking haters. Damn.
The children don't know how good they have it with AO3.
They really don't. Guys, I think it's time we all start writing 7 Minutes in Heaven fics again.
I absolutely agree. So we should explain what 7 Minutes in Heaven is.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know. Yeah, for, the cool kids out there. Tease, would you like to explain what 7 Minutes in Heaven is?
You spin a bottle or you pick a person and you guys are stuck in a closet for 7 minutes. And I've never played it.
No, neither.
Because who would actually invite me to a type of party like that?
No!
I was not popular in middle school, nor was I popular in high school. Shocking, I know. But a set of people would be sent into a closet or like a bathroom or something during a party, and it would be timed 7 minutes. And for the most part, it's people usually just awkwardly standing in the room / closet together. But the idea was that people were supposed to like make out or touch a boob or something.
Yeah.
Penis got an attitude. But
I'm gonna end you.
Sorry.
I'm sending you into the closet for 7 minutes by yourself to think about what you've just done.
It's just Bass putting her little paw through the
underneath the door, like, Papa,
exactly.
Papa, may I come in?
Exactly.
Papa.
But yeah, is that it? That's pretty much 7
yeah,
minutes in heaven?
that's a pretty good description.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. In fanish communities, 7 Minutes in Heaven almost exclusively referred to self-insert fics, often posed in the form of quiz fics. And I don't know if maybe fanfiction.net had problems with self-insert fics, or if they just didn't like children having fun, but it's one of those two.
Bad.
Quiz fics almost exclusively employ the second-person perspective. So it's you walk into the room, you did this, you did X, Y, Z, what have you, instead of I did this or they did this. According to fan lore, quiz fics are often written by teenagers and not considered real fic in other fan spaces. And I want to take a moment here to talk about how stupidly elitist that is in fan communities where, first of all, you're in a fan community, so you're not even working with your own properties. And so elitism about, content and production and skill seems really silly to me. Elitism in general seems very silly to me.
It's fan fiction. None of you are getting paid for this. Plus, you're all teenagers. Like, you all are reading this. It's...
Okay, well, I would argue people of all ages write and read fan fiction, and people do get paid to make their fan fiction.
That is also true. But I'm saying the general population of when the time people were reading 7 Minutes in Heaven fic, I'm going to assume
you were probably a teenager. Yeah.
You were probably a teenager, and this was like your fun hobby that you and your friends wrote together during your lunch period or during library hours when you're supposed to be working on a project for your English class or something like that. So that's just me.
But I think then what bothers me about the elitism regarding, it's not real fic because it's young teenagers who are reading and writing it is like, how often do we already make fun of, let's be honest, teenage girls?
Yes.
How often do we already make fun of teenage girls and all their interests and shit on them? And it's like,
a ton.
They're writing something, they're reading something. It might not be Chaucer or Dickens, but they're still reading and they're having fun. And
Dickens ain't even fun to read. Like, sorry, but maybe Sasuke touching Naruto's peen might be a little bit more fun for you. I don't know, but
there's something to be said too about how like these fics in general are like a safer way to explore sexuality than like doing it with terrible other teenagers who can really hurt you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like this is fun. It's lighthearted. It's a kiss fic, you know?
Mm-hmm. Also, I think there's such power in the idea of writing fan fiction that you control the outcome of as the reader. I mean, like you were saying, not as seriously, but for you to decide like, oh, not only would this guy maybe react this way, but he might also react this way, depending on how the reader feels their personal characterization of that character. Like that's really advanced, I feel like, for a middle schooler, high schooler to be thinking about, because sometimes I'm reading something like, he wouldn't say that, but then I don't think to myself like, oh, maybe he'd say it like this. Like, it doesn't occur to me to think about that. But yet these people who are writing these moments are clearly thinking about this character enough in a way that they can react to something in multiple different fashions, depending on how it's accessed. And like, that's so much more creative than what we give fan fiction credit for. And I think this is a intensive labor of love to write this. Like, oh my gosh, we should be considering taking this more seriously, I think, as a fic content. And I think as a, like now in 2021, let's just all write 7 minutes and have in fic.
Story games, as they're called. There is such potential for them, and like they're intensive. They require a lot of work because again, you're not focusing on just like potentially one plot line. You're focusing on multiple branching paths. And I can definitely see, especially with the resurgence of tabletop games like D&D, like things like this have a huge power and like are really amazing and a fantastic way, I think exactly what you're saying, for young people to explore interpersonal communication in a really safe and fun format, potentially, with their peers, you know?
And plus, like, I could see that totally being a collaborative effort between friends as well. Because so maybe you happen to be a Sasuke fan, but your friend happens to be a Choji fan or something like that. Like, I think that's a really good way for you to hang out with do something together with your friends. Because let's be real, I think, at least for me, part of my experience in the early aughts was sitting in front of a computer with friends and doing stuff with my friends. And either it was like reading Snopes articles or playing Neopets together or playing Ice Sketch together or watching Newgrounds videos and shit like that. Like I can see friends write like the fastest typer or the person whose computer it is sitting in front of the computer, and they like one person goes, oh, make him do this. Oh, I would think this guy should do this. Like, I think it would be such a fun collaborative effort between friends. Like, I see the appeal in this as somebody who probably would be that target audience from that age group, despite missing my sign from God to get really into anime at an early age. So there's that.
I think it would be great if more creative writing courses really embraced this nature of like story games and like had their students work on story games collaboratively, because that's an amazing exercise and great teamwork. And I think, unfortunately, when we do creative writing classes for young people, we don't teach them enough about the collaborative nature that can go into writing, or that writing can be collaborative. And it's like, how many high school students and middle school students are sitting there who actively RP in their free time, which is a form of collaborative writing, and like would love to learn more about the technical side of that, or do that in class, you know, like that's what they gravitate towards. Because I feel like for a lot of people, writing as a solitary activity isn't as much fun when you are by yourself. And so like doing it in a group is way more invigorating. You know, you have somebody to bounce ideas off of. It's really cool. And I think this thing that we lost, it makes me sad.
If Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett can write Good Omens together, you can write anything with your friends together. Like,
exactly.
Just do stuff with, once again, we are saying, do stuff that makes you happy and do shit with the people you love and who are your friends.
100%. All the way. There is a larger conversation that I think we can save for another episode to just sort of talk about the derision that has happened and a lot of the sort of weird malice towards self-insert and reader insert fics. Just on a really silly, let them live. If you want to ship yourself with Kylo Ren, I support you.
You're not a Raylo.
I might question your taste a little bit, but I get it. Do it. Yeah. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
So
it's fine. We all have our faves. We all have our faves that shouldn't be our faves, but we do.
You can have a fave who's terrible, and that doesn't mean they shouldn't be your fave.
Yeah.
Characters you love are not a direct reflection of your character or your morals. So in 7 Minutes in Heaven fics and Spin the Bottle fics and all these sorts of fun little games that people made, readers could choose from members of a circle or a group or whatever arrangement the fic had set itself up as, and the resulting quiz would detail what happened within the 7 minutes that follow, or, what kind of kiss is shared across the circle, that sort of thing. Sometimes those fics were explicit, as we covered. The creators of Quizilla could not keep up with the 14-year-old girls who wanted sex to be in their fanfiction. I support them. Readers often would take and retake these quizzes to explore the variety of results that they could get, which I think is really cute. And that's just like me playing Dragon Age over and over and over again to see every different romance route or what happens during each different choice that I take, 7 Minutes in Heaven wasn't the only popular quiz fic, though, and so some other varieties included, What X Character Thinks of You, where it's basically a reskinned personality quiz in which the quiz taker would go through, fill out all the answers, and then the end result that they would get would be, that character's perception of them. Chat with X, character dialogue was offered for the character, and each question offered possible responses. It wasn't normally plot-based. More often, it would, result in, that character's thoughts about you, the quiz taker. And then there's also, the who is your Naruto boyfriend? But this is a blend of the previous two types. It didn't often come with, a fic or even a ficlet. It was just, again, what that character thinks about you. Your Naruto boyfriend is Choji. He likes to go to dinner with you and take walks around the pond.
Hell yeah, Choji, let's go.
The turtle ducks.
Yeah.
It's worth mentioning that Imagine-style blogs and memes fall kind of within this realm of self-insert work, in which boundless options are given for the reader to quite literally imagine themselves in. And we all love to laugh at a good Imagine meme where it's imagine Jake Paul showing up at your house and he looks like this and he's sweaty and looks terrified.
Imagine
and it's
being
oh, okay.
sold to One Direction.
Stop. Because Quizilla is gone. God rest her soul. Other sites have had to sort of take up that quiz fic landscape. And so quiz fics, especially intensive, more choose-your-own-adventure styled fics, can be quite clunky in presentation, and an archive like AO3 isn't really suited to hosting something of that nature. It would take a lot of work, and it could certainly be done, but, it wouldn't be the most intuitive. I don't think you can include hyperlinks in AO3, can you?
You can, because I've done it before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've written
that might make it easier.
Yeah, I've written fics before where it's supposed to be somebody's Twitter username, and then it'll be a link to a twit pic, but in reality, it's a link to something that's random or stupid. Yeah,
like crouton.net.
Like crouton.net. Yeah, never gonna give you up. Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah. So you can find quiz fics and story games on websites now like Quotev and ChooseYourOwnStory.com. I don't know if Choose Your Own Story allows for fan fiction, but if you're seeking user-created stories with options, it's totally worth exploring. I skimmed through it a little bit, and it seems really cool. And then I really like that if you look on Quotev, you see users talking about the quote-unquote new idea they had to make 7 Minutes in Heaven fics.
History repeats itself.
The children are simply repaving the paths laid before them, and I think that's very cute and very sweet, and it's nice to see that, Wow. Teens today. They're just like us.
Teens today, they are just like us.
They just want to kiss Naruto in a closet a little bit.
Ye old fan fiction writers in the 1600s also did choose your own adventures, where ye old Naruto kissed ye old Tiffinopoulos, the writer of this fan fiction.
There's a secret code. The Bible is actually an ARG. And so if you look closely, it'll give you numbers.
If you type in those numbers into the codec.
Alternate Bible ending, Jesus lives. I just want to put a disclaimer that I've grown up in a very Christian family, and my grandparents are pastors and church founders. So please don't say I'm making fun of the church.
I am. I was raised Roman Catholic. And
I've done my time. I've paid my taxes. I've given my tithe.
My
I'm allowed
CCD
to
head
make fun of
would
him.
not let me be Teresa, and from that moment, I have sworn to scorn the Catholic Church.
Jesus doesn't take himself so seriously. He shouldn't either.
Thank you.
Learn to make a joke at that boy's expense.
Thank you. Thank you. So I became Teresa Dorothy, which is really unfortunate.
You're Teresa in my church.
Thank you. I'm so glad.
Welcome to Author's Note. Don't like, don't listen. It's a fledgling church.
For tax reasons.
We're just like Scientology.
No, we're not. But yeah.
That's our episode. That's the fun little history of quiz fix.
I love this. So what about then like modern day self-insert fix? Because like sometimes, oh my god, I hate when I'm reading self-insert fix and I'm like, no, I would not say this.
Your characterization is all wrong. You need to write the change you want to see in the world.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think personal opinion, just while we're chatting about this, is that I think if you're going to do a self-insert fic or like a reader insert fic, you're almost better off just making a blank slate character a la Bella Swan that your reader can project onto, as opposed to like the your name styling.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe if you want to like have an alternate version where the character's name is cut out and your name is put in place of that, then go for it.
But I also feel like OC canon character ships do not get the views that people want them to get.
No,
you know?
they definitely don't. And so there's I think self-insert and OC insert fix, like that needs to be its own episode, because my brain, whenever people talk about OC shipping, my brain immediately launches to the Dragon Age and Mass Effect communities where like that's what it is. Like it's your Inquisitor and it's like every single person's Inquisitor is totally different. So
Final Fantasy 14, your World of Light, yeah.
My World of Light? My Warrior of Light.
Warrior Light? They're not World of Lights. I've been reading it as World of Light this
it's
whole
Warrior
time.
of Light.
Warrior of Light. Cool. Wonderful.
Spoilers for Shadowbringers. Also Warrior of Darkness. What up?
Never. Cockroach Caddy lasted for 30 minutes.
We gotta get you back in. If Nika can do it, you can do it. We just have to
enter the Caddyverse.
We just have to take the hour-long period of time to set up your UI, and then we're all good.
It's so scary. They all speak in weird dialects. And
You didn't even meet Urianger.
Oh!
Urianger is like Ishtola.
What? What do these words mean?
It is myeth turn on thine Xbox if. That's my mutton chop king. I love him.
I like how Lalafels are named Peepus, Poppus.
Yeah, their names rhyme.
Or Scrungus.
McDungus.
Mm-hmm. Rachel Sachel. That's my Lalafell's name, Rachel Sachel.
All right, well, that's been Author's Note. If you enjoyed our episode and you want to help support us, listening is fantastic, and we can't thank you enough for that. That is like, that's all the support we need. But if you really enjoyed the show, we would love if you could share it with some friends, give us a review on iTunes that helps other people find the show. And if you're feeling particularly generous, you can leave us a donation on Ko-fi, that's Ko-fi, or you can join our Patreon where we do monthly bonus episodes, and at a certain goal, those become bi-weekly bonuses, which that's pretty cool. Both of those are Author's Note Pod. Yes.
Yeah. If you probably have noticed, I have a way better microphone now. And guess what?
Yeah.
It's from Patreon money. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited. I fucking love this microphone. It's
Yeah.
so strong and so scary. And I love it.
If you guys want some Tease ASMR as a fun little bonus, let us know. We can make that happen for you. I can also do ASMR, but I must be bought for a very high price. If you enjoy my work and would like to find more of me across the internet, my name is Cass, and you can find me pretty much everywhere at Valhethella. That's VALHETHELLA. Tease, if people want to find more of you, where can they get you at?
You could find me at Vicunad, that's VICUNAD. I am also on the Fresh Podcast Market, which is a real podcast about fake podcasts. It's also just me and my good pal Panda shooting the shit. You can also find me on Down by the Sea, a maritime horror zine, and you could find out more information about them at gumroad.com/sideshowpub. Our theme music was done by James Yaiullo. You can find him on Bandcamp under James Y. And Cass, who did our cover art?
Our cover art was done by the wonderful, the incredible, the infallible, the perfect Nyaliest. You can find her on Twitter at Nyaliest. It's NYALLIEST. If you're looking for Final Fantasy XIV content, Rat Baby is doing some incredible stuff.
Rat baby.
Until next time, stay safe. Read some 7 Minutes in Heaven fic and appreciate the teenage kids in your life,
Yeah. Let's write some
Be
7
safe.
Minute Heaven fic. Fuck it.
Hell yeah. Bye.
Oh my god, bye. Bye.